They told her he was the enemy, that loving him was treason. But what if the enemy looked at you not with hatred, but with pain, warmth, and something dangerously close to love? Her name was Yael, Israeli, born in Haifa, daughter of a military family, trained from a young age to think first, feel later. She joined the IDF at 18, climbed ranks faster than most of the men around her. Focused, unbreakable, or so she thought. The mission was supposed to be simple: cross the border covertly, extract intelligence from a known site in southern Iran. No contact, no casualties, no mess. They never told her about the man in the basement. He was bound when she found him, blood on his face, shirt torn, barely conscious. She almost shot him on sight, but something in his eyes made her pause. Not fear, not rage, but something else. He whispered in Farsi, too weak to fight. Yael radioed in. Unregistered civilian found. What are my orders? Static. Then a voice. Leave him. Do not engage. She stood there, weapon drawn, finger trembling over the trigger. But she couldn't walk away. Not this time. Not with those eyes begging. Not for mercy, but for something else. For recognition. For life. She knelt. What's your name? His voice cracked. Ramin. She glanced at the map. Backup was 20 minutes away. She didn't have 20 minutes. Why are you here? I worked in the building, he said, barely audible. I was taken, tortured, accused of spying for Israel. That irony stung. And were you? He shook his head. I'm a teacher. Literature. Poetry. Of course he was. She cut the ropes. It was a risk. A betrayal of her mission. But something inside her had shifted. Not because he was a poet. Not even because he was innocent. Because he was human. She helped him to his feet. Supported him out of the building. Dodged patrols. Found cover in a ditch until nightfall. He didn't speak much. Just held her arm tightly, limping beside her. At the rendezvous point, she stopped. Go, she said. Head toward the mountains. There's a village. You'll find help. His grip tightened. You'll be caught. I already am, she said. He looked at her, really looked, and nodded. They went together. The escape took days. She lied to her superiors. Changed routes. Sent fake coordinates. Every step forward was another step away from her old life. From the army. From the laws she once served. Some nights they barely spoke. Others they whispered everything. She told him about her brother, killed on patrol. How she joined the army for revenge, not patriotism. He told her about his students, his dream of publishing a book of love poems, and how his wife left him for safer ground. By the time they crossed into Kurdish territory, they were no longer strangers. She kissed him that night, under a sky thick with stars. No orders, no uniforms, just skin, breath, and the quiet rebellion of two hearts defying everything they'd been told. They found shelter with a farmer who owed favors to the wrong people. He offered food and silence. It was enough. They stayed 2 weeks. Long enough to fall deeper. Long enough to forget the war waiting beyond the hills. But the war didn't forget them. Drones overhead. Encrypted signals intercepted. The IDF knew. So did Iranian intelligence. They were wanted by both. Traitor and fugitive. Yoel packed at sunrise. We can't stay. Ramin nodded. Where will we go? Somewhere no one cares about our flags. She got them false papers through a Mossad contact who owed her a favor she swore she'd never call in. They boarded a train, then a truck, then a ferry. Eventually, they landed in Greece. Tourists. Or so the world thought. They rented a room in a crumbling building overlooking the sea. She cut her hair. He grew a beard. They became nobody. It was beautiful. For a while. But peace, Yoel learned, comes with a price. She missed her mother's voice. The taste of ziyadar. The sound of Hebrew prayers in the morning. And he missed his classroom. One night she asked, "Do you regret it?" Ramin kissed her forehead. Only the years I didn't know you. But their ghosts weren't done chasing them. One morning, a man in a gray suit knocked at the cafe where Ramin worked part-time. He didn't ask questions. He just left a photo on the counter. Yael in uniform. The words, "We remember." Ramin found her sitting on the beach that night, staring at the waves. "They found us," he said. She nodded. "I'll run if you want me to," he offered. She turned. "You think I did all this just to let you go?" They moved again. Italy this time. Then Morocco. Then Argentina. Each city a new name, a new lie, a new dream. But love makes liars of everyone eventually. Yael wanted a child. Ramin hesitated. "Bringing life into this mess?" he asked. "With enemies on every continent." "I'd rather raise a child on the run," she said, "than never know what it's like to build something with you." They tried. They failed. Doctors said stress, trauma, maybe fate. She cried for the first time since the desert. He held her, didn't speak. They moved again. Portugal. And there something changed. No more knocks. No more shadows. Just long days, orange sunsets, and the echo of music from passing boats. Yael opened a small bakery. Ramin translated books. They laughed more. Fought sometimes. But it was real. One evening, over wine and olives, she asked, "Do you still think of Iran?" "Only the poetry," he said. "The people, not the pain." "And I think of home too," she whispered. They were quiet. Then she said, "Maybe we'll never be free. Not really. But maybe this," she took his hand, "is enough." He smiled. For once they believed it. Until the letter arrived. Unmarked envelope. One line inside. "You've been forgiven. Come home." No signature. No seal. Yael held it for a long time. Then burned it. Ramin watched the ashes rise. "Would you go back?" she asked. "Only with you." "Then we stay." And they did. For now. They stayed in Portugal for nearly 3 years. Longer than anywhere else. The sea was their clock, the town their hiding place. They became a part of its rhythm, baking bread, translating novels, walking hand in hand through cobbled streets like any other couple who had never been hunted, never been hurt. But even paradise grows cracks when it rests on secrets. One night, Ramin returned home late. A man had come to the bookshop. He didn't buy anything. Didn't say a word. Just stood, watching. Ramin didn't tell Yael. Not that night. He didn't want to steal her peace. But she knew anyway. She always knew when something shifted in the air. The next day, the bakery door had a new scratch near the lock. That night, she checked the cameras she'd installed a year ago, just in case. One feed was missing. Static. Tampered. It was happening again. The ghosts were waking. Yael confronted him. "You saw something," she said. "Tell me." Ramin hesitated, then nodded. "They're getting closer," he said. "It's only a matter of time." Yael sat at the kitchen table, staring at the old tea kettle. "How many more cities can we run to?" she whispered. "Enough," he said. "Until we can't anymore." She shook her head. "No. I'm tired of hiding." He looked at her, searching her face. "What are you saying?" She stood, walked to the drawer, pulled out a sealed envelope. Inside an old ID. Israeli. Her real name. Real photo. Real past. "I never destroyed it," she said. "I told myself I would. But I didn't." Ramin's eyes narrowed. "You want to go back?" "I want to stop running." "If we go back, they'll try you. Prison. Worse." "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe they'll finally understand." He was silent for a long time. Then he said, "I would follow you into fire. But I won't let you burn alone." They began planning. Not for escape. For return. It was insane. Dangerous. But they were done pretending to be ghosts. Yoel reached out to an old contact in Mossad, Eli, the only one who hadn't tried to erase her name. "I'm not calling for protection," she told him. "I'm calling to come home." There was a long pause on the line. Then, You'll have to face a tribunal. I know. And the man? He comes with me. Then you'll both be judged. So be it. The meeting was set. A neutral zone in Cyprus. When they arrived, Eli was already waiting, older, grayer, but just as sharp. He didn't shake Ramin's hand, but he didn't stop Yoel from holding his. You should have disappeared forever, he said quietly. I tried, Yoel answered. And now I want my life back. You threw that away the moment you betrayed your mission. I didn't betray the mission. I saved a life. Eli looked at Ramin. You're a lucky man, he said coldly. Ramin nodded. Luck had little to do with it. Eli handed over a dossier. This is what awaits. Investigation. Public trial. Press coverage. Your story will be politicized. Romanticized. Torn apart. Yoel didn't flinch. I'm ready. Eli narrowed his eyes. And if the court doesn't accept you? Then I go to prison. But at least I'll be done hiding. Eli turned to go. Then paused. There are still people who believe in what you stood for, Yoel. Not what you became, but who you were. I'm still her, she said. Just older. Wiser. More dangerous, he added. She smiled. Maybe that too. Back in Israel, the news exploded. A decorated soldier returns after disappearing for years, with an Iranian fugitive at her side. Half the country wanted her executed. The other half called her a hero. The trial began. Broadcast live. A circus of politicians, military officials, former comrades, all weighing in. Some called her weak. Others called her brave. She sat beside Ramin, fingers interlocked, while prosecutors tried to define love with wartime vocabulary. Did you knowingly aid the enemy? They asked. No, she said. I saved an innocent man. Did you violate direct orders? Yes. Do you regret it? She looked at Ramin. No. Whispers filled the courtroom. The prosecution painted a picture of emotional collapse, of betrayal wrapped in romance. The defense argued for compassion, for humanity in the face of blind doctrine. It came down to the final witness. A man named Doran, Yoel's former commander. He stepped onto the stand. A hard man, face carved by war. I trained her, he said. Trusted her with the most sensitive missions. And she broke protocol. Abandoned duty. Lied to her unit. He paused. But the room held its breath. She also saved a life. Not because it was convenient, but because it was right. And maybe that's what we forgot along the way. That even soldiers are allowed to be human. Gasps. Applause. Objections. The trial closed. 3 days passed. Then the verdict. Guilty. But with leniency. No prison. No exile. Just discharge, dishonorably recorded, and the forfeiture of her military benefits. Yoel accepted it without blinking. Freedom had a price. They left the courthouse hand in hand, the same way they had left the desert. Together. The public firestorm eventually faded. Some still whispered behind their backs. Others sent letters of support. But for the first time in years, they had nothing to run from. Ramin began teaching again, online courses in poetry and language. Yoel opened a nonprofit for displaced families. People like them who had fallen between countries, causes, and sides. And then, one spring morning, just as the jacarandas bloomed, Yoel sat on the bathroom floor, holding a stick in her hand. Positive. She laughed. Then cried. Then called his name. When he saw the test, Ramin didn't speak. He just knelt and kissed her belly, over and over. 9 months later, their daughter was born. They named her Shira, Hebrew for song, because that's what their story had become. Not a war report. Not a scandal. A song. Of fear. Of defiance. Of love that crossed borders and defied orders. A lullaby louder than any siren. And when Shira grew older and asked how they met, they never said on the battlefield. They said, we met when the world tried to keep us apart, and we chose to stay together anyway. And that truly was the beginning of everything.